Okay, welcome back. And it is Bristol City time now with our season so far, and making a welcome return to the channel with similar life experience and sleep patterns to me at the moment is Gregor MacGregor. How are you, sir?
Yeah, not too bad. The sleep deprived Gregor MacGregor, as you will well know about, Ben.
I do well know about it, but congratulations. Apparently, there are more important things than football in life. Not that I believe it, eh?
Absolutely, absolutely. Well said.
Yeah, there you go. Right. With that being said, let's go on to Bristol City. And probably a bit of a surprise, A, where they are, and B, how they've got there. When we last spoke, there was a lot of things kind of on the way out and on the way in, and a lot of moving parts. And I think you even used the word transition yourself going forward. And I'm not entirely sure how it is they've got there, but Bristol City in ninth position on the basis of a lot more from the outside grit and determination. Still horrendously bad home record, but the best team in the league with the most points accumulated away from home. Good luck explaining how this has all happened.
Yeah, they love an away day, that's for sure. As you say, top of the league for points won on the road. Yes, I actually think there are some pretty straightforward answers on this one. Actually, surprisingly, last season, and we probably spoke about this before when I was on, they had a horrendous run of injuries. That was their downfall, without doubt. That's horrendous luck on that front. We probably mentioned last time that it was in the region of sort of 30 injuries across the season. And if you think last year, I think Liverpool, they were talking about having some 19, 20 injuries and having a terrible season. So that kind of puts it in perspective how bad it was. We think it was possibly the worst injury crisis in the EFL, and it was maybe a little bit underreported. But every club obviously has tough times, and the background, of course, to that is the pandemic. They were switching training ground this way. There was basically they moved into their new facilities. That made a difference for them once they got in there, but it took a while to be able to do that. They lost some of the facilities, and this year, in the summer, they replaced their head of performance with Dave Rennie from Leicester City. And up until a few weeks ago, they pretty much had the whole squad available, and they also have looked to the naked eye, but I'm pretty sure the stats would also show this if we had them. But they are fitter, definitely, without doubt. As the supporters and anyone who watches them regularly, they are a lot fitter than last season. They are more robust. I don't particularly like to use that expression because that's the term that Nigel Pearson has used a lot. And basically, yeah, they're not suffering from injuries. They've had their best players available, and there's naturally a lot more confidence in the squad. As soon as they got on like a bit of a run, had some good results, the belief has come back. And it's probably no surprise, if I'm honest, this way that they've done better than last season. The extent to which they've done better, yeah, they're probably overachieving at the moment, and I'm not too sure if they'll be able to sustain this level. But yeah, so far so good.
Would you say it's fair? This is my perception from the outside, and shoot me down, that it still feels like there's a bit of a ceiling. I don't see a team kind of powering into away games and dominating the ball and creating way more chances than the opponents, and taking all before them and winning games. It feels like they've kind of got the competitiveness back that they once had, but there's probably still a bit more of a ceiling in terms of the pattern of play. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think it is. The only thing is, I would sort of counterbalance it with a lot of this squad is very young. The players they've brought in the summer that they've paid fees for have been young. They did obviously bring in a couple of free transfers who were on the experienced side, Matty James and Andy King, obviously players that Nigel Pearson knows very well, trusts completely. But they spent money on Rob Atkinson and George Tanner. Both have been really excellent of late, and they're still got a lot of young players involved. Alex Scott has has played a lot this season. Cam Pring has been in the side of late. Antoine Semenyo hasn't been, but we expect him to come back in. And Hanno Masengo has been excellent this season. He's just out injured at the moment, but he's played a lot. So there's a lot of young players involved who we're expecting to get better and better. But yeah, I know what you're saying there, Ben. In terms of like those away wins, for example, yeah, they haven't absolutely dominated those games. They could have gone either way. In fact, pretty much every game I've seen this season, it could have gone either way. It's been 50-50 encounter, and some of those you'll win, some of those you'll lose. Case in point that they've probably just done that little bit better on the road, but they can't get their act together at Ashton Gate, and I'm sure that will turn around. They won't be so good on the road at some point, and they will finally start winning it in Bristol again. But I suspect they might, as it stands, they might sort of finish around where they are at the moment.
Interesting. Are there any sort of players that you can pick out as, ones that you think have done particularly well thus far in these sort of first 11 games?
Definitely, yeah. Rob Atkinson has been outstanding. I was thinking about like who the standout players were, and naturally you consider the attackers. And Andy Weimann and Chris Martin have done really well this season. Both were injured for about the last 3 months of last year, have come back, had a really good pre-season. Sort of Nigel Pearson said in the summer he wanted to bring in a striker, but he then maybe realised that he had two good ones that he just hadn't been able to use in his entire time in charge last season. And Weimann and Martin have both now scored 4 goals each in 11 games. And I was naturally going to choose one of those guys. However, I think Rob Atkinson at the back is probably the guy who's maybe even having a bigger effect. He was a £1.6 million signing from Oxford United in the summer. I think it's an excellent recruit. The club's taken a little bit of a gamble on him because he only had that 1 year at Oxford United, but they've sort of got in there maybe before other bigger clubs could do so. And we see him this way as sort of a guy who can maybe replicate old Adam Webster, who you guys will know so well. And he's class at the back there. He's a kind of central defender that just reads the game so well. He's always in the right position. He's very, very good on the ball. We see him dribbling forward at least once or twice a game. And when I say dribble it forward, I mean literally slaloming through midfield.
Easy for you to say.
To the edge of the box and at least getting a shot or setting up a shot for someone. And it's going to be only a matter of time before he does something remarkable in terms of running from the back and making a picturesque goal. So Atkinson for me, he's played every game at the back there, hasn't been dropped, and statistically he stands out as well when you look at things like interceptions, blocks, these kind of things. He's right up there,
which Nigel Pearson will love from the way he played as well. I think you mentioned Adam Webster as well. I think the Rob Dickey thing now, these are high value, literally from the same club from Oxford as well. These are, if you get an English young centre half that can, that's powerful and can play the ball, they're a very viable asset. I think the lad Greaves at Hull will be another one that's going to be worth lots of money, and Atkinson's certainly up there. Without wishing to sort of dig anybody out, we say this in a positive sort of sense. Who do you think can probably deliver a little bit more as the season rolls on?
I would actually say, and this will probably come as a surprise to if any Bristol City supporters watch this, but I would probably say Matty James. And I say that with the best intentions because I value him very, very highly. And I watched him quite closely last season at Coventry. He was obviously very good then. He was very good on his brief loan spell at Barnsley as well. I've watched him a lot when he was at Leicester before. And I know what kind of player he is. I know he's very talented. I still feel there's a little bit more to come from him. We maybe expected a little bit more than what he's delivered at the moment in the summer. He hasn't scored yet for Bristol City. I'm not entirely sure if I don't think he's got any assists thus far either, which is maybe a little bit of a surprise because he's got one assist. But we might have expected him to have a few more because he takes all the set pieces for Bristol City.
Right.
So, but his passing range is superb, and he hasn't quite pulled off those sort of through balls or sort of match winning passes that you'd expect for a player of his ilk to be able to deliver. But I do feel there's a lot more to come from him. He's excellent in the middle at just getting his foot in, reading the play, breaking up play. He's played every game. He's obviously another guy that Nigel Pearson knows very well and will depend upon. He's probably captaincy material because he's obviously had a pretty good career, and he's got great experience, and he knows the Championship so well. And I just think there's a bit more to come from him, to be honest.
Yeah, good answer. Good answer. So I've got written down on my pad, higher or lower at Christmas. This is probably quite a difficult one to call. Probably a bit. I think we do get to game 23 by Christmas or thereabouts. So pretty much the halfway mark. And if I'm not being unfair, that 9th feels like a good position already. Will they be sustaining it, going higher, or maybe just dropping in a couple of places, do you think, around Christmas?
Yeah, I think they can sustain it. I don't think it flatters them too much, the position they're in at the moment. Obviously, it's very, very close to the Championship. It always is in those sort of middle areas. There's so many teams already on the same 16 points, a couple on 15 points. I see in the table below them. So, yeah, you're right. They could easily drop a couple of places, but I wouldn't be surprised if they moved up to 8th or 7th either. But so, I mean, everybody's prediction this way was that they would be in mid-table. If you're pessimistic, then you'd probably say lower mid-table. I think a lot of people suggested bang on sort of around 12th, 13th, 14th maybe. So they're maybe doing a little bit better than that. Can they sustain it? Yeah, I think there's a possibility. As I say, I think there's a bit more growth to this side. When we're watching week in week, they maybe have got a bit better. They've got a decent strength in depth to the squad as well. At the weekend, they made a few changes, but they still won at Peterborough, and I thought they were very good as well at Peterborough. So yeah, I'd say that maybe 9th, they could be there for a bit yet to come.
Yeah, and all is going to reveal itself, because at the moment, it feels like we've got a lot of teams in the top half where we're saying, oh, they're punching their weight. And we've got a lot of teams in the bottom half where, oh, are they underachieving a little bit? And that sounds like stating the bleeding obvious, but often it's not like that. It's, oh, well, they're in the top half and we expected them to be there. So in the fullness of time, if these underachievers maybe stay in the bottom half, it will open out for, a Bristol City or Reading or Blackburn in that group there. And, the door will open if we don't get a surge from the underachieving teams. Gregor, I've asked everybody for a grade, a letter grade for this start of the season so far. I don't think you'll need to, but you can't go down as far as an F. That feels a bit too negative. Oh, hello, Alexa. Where do you place the start of Bristol City season?
Yeah, pleasantly surprised. So B plus. I mean, if they were in the top 6, we'd be certainly looking at A's, I think. Yeah, top 2, then that's highly unlikely. So yeah, pleasantly surprised, and yeah, definitely Nigel Pearson doing a good job at the moment, and they're nicely placed to attack the rest of the season.
Brilliant stuff, Gregor, as ever. Where can people find your writing and you on Twitter? And are you in the same boat as me, sometimes writing stuff at about 1 a.m. because that's the only time you literally have to do it?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I was there though before the baby came along, Ben. So yeah, I know those hours well. Yeah, just check out Bristol Live for our coverage of Bristol City, and yeah, an exciting season in prospect still.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you again for coming on, Gregor, and no doubt we'll catch up later, and we'll either be very smug or we'll both have made a fool out of ourselves. And I'm sure we're both used to both scenarios. So thanks for your time, Gregor.
No worries at all, Ben. Anytime, mate.